Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to the Parafair today. And today's topic is cycle of deeds. What are some cycle of deeds? And as we break down the story, we look at the story, the cycle of deeds are, some things that you do for people without expecting anything. So let's listen to our story, get into it. When we come back in a few minutes, talk about some things that really stood out to us, some things that are confusing, and some things that, just really didn't make sense to me, but whatever. All right, so let's listen to our story. We'll be right back with you in a few seconds.
Cycle of evil. There was once a king who was so cruel and unjust that his subjects yearned for his death or dethronement. However, one day he surprised them all by announcing that he had decided to turn over a new leaf. No more cruelty, no more injustice, he promised, and he was as good as his word. He became known as the Gentle Monarch. Months after his transformation, one of his ministers plucked up enough courage to ask him what had brought about his change of heart. And the king answered, "As I was galloping through my forests, I caught sight of a fox being chased by a hound. The fox escaped into his hole, but not before the hound had bitten into its leg and lamed it for life. Later I rode into a village and saw the same hound there. It was barking at a man. Even as I watched, the man picked up a huge stone and flung it at the dog, breaking its leg. The man had not gone far when he was kicked by a horse. His knee was shattered and he fell to the ground, disabled for life. The horse began to run, but it fell into a hole and broke its leg. Reflecting on all that had happened, I thought, evil begets evil. If I continue in my evil ways, I will surely be overtaken by evil. So I decided to change." The minister went away convinced that the time was ripe to overthrow the king and seize the throne. Immersed in thought, he did not see the steps in front of him and fell, breaking his neck.
Welcome back from our story. Hopefully you enjoyed our story, The Cycle of Deeds. Very interesting story. Very interesting how the cycle of how you do things and how you treat people on your daily basis, and how they broke the story down. It would happen from one person to another person. It had a sequence where something happened to one person, something happened to another person, something happened to the next person. And so it's kind of interesting to see that, how we treat people and how things happen to a lot of us in a lot of different ways, is how we, things happen to us. We think we're just getting a bad break, but maybe we treated someone bad, 2 days ago or a day ago. What really stood out to me was how everyone who was treated bad in that story, they had a certain power or they had a certain strength over that person at that time. But then as they got met with bigger and better people or more powerful people, they seem to really fall off a little bit. And that's what happens a lot to us in life. We think that, we're better than one person or another person, and we treat each other a different way. And it's pretty sad how some things are being treated. I was just real simple today. I was out somewhere and I was at a coffee shop, and I saw this person, come right behind me, and I knew that it was kind of windy outside, whatever it was, and I just propped the door open for them and let them go ahead and go, and no big deal. Just let them go ahead. They say, "Oh, yeah, I can go ahead." Yeah, no, I'm in no rush. I'm just here to enjoy the moment. I'm in no rush whatsoever. And I keep thinking about the deeds and how, as I did, not saying that I just let people just go in front of me all the time, but as we went to this event and how my son and my wife really enjoyed it, everything went smooth today. There was no friction. The parking was easy. The walk was easy. The game was entertaining. So it was kind of neat. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, no really big, things jumped off. And I said, well, maybe you've been doing the right thing. Because a lot of times we do things and we're wondering, oh man, something bad's going to happen to us. And because we're, sometimes people, we're not the nicest at certain times of our day, but you got to be really careful what you say to people and how you treat people. And And just because you may have a little bit more than the next person, it's kind of hard to watch, and kind of hard to not just watch, but just watch yourself in general, how we should be really patient with each other. But it's as I see how some people who have more than others, how they look down at some people and how they treat people, it's really, it's kind of disturbing, and they wonder why they don't get a good break in life. That's what's really, for be honest with you, is really confusing to me about how life is, and how one minute you're on the top, next minute you're on the bottom. I just came back from doing a few errands, and I was just thinking about the business and the podcast, and how one minute I'm looking and I'm trying to always promote the show and always trying to do things and reach out to people, talk to people. And this one person asked me, well, I noticed you have so many followers for your, for your podcast. What are you doing? I said, real simple. I'm trying to be good to the people, trying to make sure that the show is current, trying to make sure that the people are listening, and trying to see people DM me, treat them with a lot of respect, and not be a jerk with comments that I make online. And it's just real simple. And people can see if you're a phony or not, even online or in person. So I just try to keep it genuine. And as the show continues to grow, it's not, I have to realize I got to get my ego out the way. It's because I'm telling people how they should, not just telling them how they should act in life, but I have to model the same behavior for me. Because I sometimes, as I was out today, I was watching myself, and I said, what if these people really knew who you were? And as I go out, as I went out today, I made sure that I said hi to people I didn't know, but hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Made eye contact with them. I said, they may recognize your voice. You never know who you're going to come in contact with out there. And I said, the main thing you have to realize is, as you go out there and you introduce yourself and you promote yourself and you're out there with people, many times that behind the microphone, you see one person, and then you see them in real life. And then you're like, wow, that person's not what I thought they would be. So as we go, and I have just one person I know, they joke about this person on the radio all the time. I guess he's giving away all this money and blah, blah, blah. They're pumping him up. And then the guys in their back just laugh and said, wow, what are you guys talking about? This person's not even that engaging once the lights are off. And as I look at my recorder and as I do my podcast, like I said, once the lights are off, some people are different. Some people just have the radio voice, the TV voice, and they're different. But you got to be consistent. You have to be a consistent person. I know the field that we're in, and when, like I said, when that button is pushed, someone's personality changes, but you got to be consistent. And I see how some people in this industry are treated by other people who are beneath them because they have a certain job. They have to act in a certain way. And so it was just interesting watching the people interact today. And as I was watching people, how people were being treated in a certain way. And I noticed today, as we finished up watching the game, we went to a coffee shop and we put our order in, and we waited. And then my son, he wanted a water or something like that. And so the lady who was helping us, she's like, here's your drinks. And but we're like, okay, thank you. But could we have some water? And she like kind of threw her off a little bit. It kind of threw her off a lot. And she's like, oh. And then she's like, okay, no problem. She went over there and she got it. And my son asked for it and said, thank you, whatnot. But sometimes, she would be like, I'm sorry, we're so busy, because the line was like outside the door. And so sometimes just a little common courtesy will go a long way, how you treat people and thank them for their service. And because a lot of times in the service industry, people don't really appreciate the work they're doing. And we as we looked at the coffee shop today, there had to be like 40 people in there, and there's only like 3 workers. And we're like, wow, why don't they hire some more people in here? Because it was swamped right after the game. And I said, oh, well, let's just be patient. That's a chance to work on your patience. So that's what we did. We just waited, and and we made jokes with the people behind the counter and whatnot. And like I said, my son wanted a certain treat. The guy came over, and said, "Oh, we ran out of this one, but we have a special one for you. And you guys have been so patient with us. Here, take this one for you." And he loved it just the same amount. But as I go back to our story and how we go and how people are treating each other in the story, and how one after another is knocking each over, trying to get an upper hand because they have the power to affect the next person. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad how the cycle just kept continuing, even to the minister. And then he realized that the king was vulnerable. The king was changing his ways, and he tried to do something to him, and then he broke his neck. So, as we go, you got to be careful of the people who are treating you bad. Think about your day, and as you reflect on your day, is how's my interaction with my coworkers? How's my interaction with my family? And was I short with them? Was I this with them? Was I that with them? And I know there's certain people that I have to interact with. And be honest with you, lately, people who I've been interacting with who are kind of like mean to me or whatever, I just stay away from them. And I'm not trying to avoid them, but I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with them. Not because I'm afraid of them or anything like that. I just don't want to say anything that could mess up my cycle, whatnot. And I said, if I don't really, like you or whatever, it's okay. You can't like everyone. You can't hate everybody. But if I don't like you, or I know I'm going to be really, really mean to you, or you're going to say something mean to me, I'm going to snap back at you. I'm going to just try to, stay away from that person. I know the next couple of days, as I interact with more and more people, I have to really watch my words, because words are so powerful. And the things that we say, and like they say, the stones, and, not just the actual stones, but the words from our mouth can be very, very crucial. So as I watch myself, and as I tell you to watch yourself as you go out there, just make sure as you go, I know it's in this topic, and I've been looking at this podcast the last couple of days and trying to figure out why certain people who think they're better than others. And I was in, like I said, I was in this situation today where there's some people you could just tell that they were just way comfortable, and they thought they were, so much better. Because they had certain passes, they had access to go to certain places in the stadium, and so they had a kind of like that bougie attitude, and they looked down at people who didn't really have the passes. But it's okay. It's okay. I always try to treat people how I wanted to be treated. And I think about too how I have to deal with certain things in the upcoming weeks, and then how people are, gaining more respect for the Parafair. And as people come in and want to talk, I have to understand that I have to do a better job of just being a good listener, and being consistent on a daily basis with everyone that I deal with. So once I can do that, I'm fine. But you got to continue working on just little things. And the thing about it, as we go this circle of deeds, this is going to happen to you. It's going to happen to you when you're not expecting it, when you put your guard down. When you put your guard down, that's what's going to happen, is they're going to catch you not really wanting to do a good deed for someone. And you're really going to have to watch yourself, because that's where, you fall into that trap where you let your guard down, and something happens to you, and you're like, whoa, how did that happen so quickly? And it's going to happen fast. Like I said, just that of me opening that door for that person and not letting it slam in their face. They're going to see that, it happens really fast. And so you got to be on your guard at all time. But the story, I really enjoyed the story a lot. I learned a lot. I learned that, if you're not a good person, it's going to eventually catch up to you. You can only run over people for so long. And as I reflect back to, I was looking at this person. He had this face, and they were a little bit older, and I think we're about the same age. And somehow or another, I'm not saying my face is better than their face, but somehow or another, just you can tell that the unhappiness of a lot of their decisions they have made in their life has really affected them. Their face is kind of like they say set in stone. They don't smile much. They don't do much. They just very unhappy way things are for them at this time and point in time in their life, because they have made decisions that have really affected them. And they don't smile a lot. They don't have a lot of energy. They're just kind of disappointed in a lot of the decisions you make, because there's an old song that I used to listen to, how if you think about your life on your face, your life is basically on your face. So if you walk around and you're frowned up, most likely it kind of tells you how your life is. And there's some people who can really fake it a lot and smile a lot and get through it. But for the majority of the people, just looking around, just trying to figure out why you're acting a certain way, it can do a lot to you. So as we wrap up today, and as we hopefully enjoyed our story about the circle of deeds and how we should treat people and how certain things are very crucial and how things are really, really how you break things down and how you get bigger and better, and you got to really watch what you're doing out there this week and the next week's coming up. And I know that sometimes we have the upper hand on certain people, but you don't have to take advantage of them. I see certain people who are really down on their luck, and I'm like, wow, me squashing them, is that gonna make me really feel any better than just saying, hey, have a great day and hopefully things work out for you? So if you don't have anything nice to say or do anything, just walk away from the situation. I'm gonna walk away from a lot of situations where I see things that aren't going so great for myself or great for that person, because I don't want to be caught up in that circle of deeds where eventually someone's going to out to get me. So hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Hopefully as we continue to get bigger and better and our listeners keep continuing to ask for more and more content to come out that way, we're working on it. We're excited that you're listening. We're excited that you want to be part of the show. We're excited that you have found us. And so as we put our podcasts on more and more platforms out there, that's fine. As we, one thing that we're looking for is more sponsorships. So if you have somebody who wants to sponsor something on here, we do have a sponsorship on the bottom of our pages. So click on those things if necessary. And that helps the pair fare out tremendously. So thanks again for stopping by, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.